To talk about a bit of the bigger picture here, people are now starting to notice some of the problems a little more, even though we've been talking about it for a while, but because it's now affecting things that are visible like ticket sales and ratings, people are starting to talk about it more, notice it a little more. Word has gotten out, I believe even Dave Meltzer in The Observer talking about it now. AEW ticket sales have become a problem. They're not selling anymore.
Well,
or as much or as fast as they once were.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like everybody's just saying, oh, geez, take these back. We want our money back. But no, they're going back to towns that used to be an automatic sellout or a great first day, and they're doing, minor percentages of what they did the last time they were in the town. If anybody had treated this like a normal business, then that wouldn't be surprising. But because they've been blinded by the light, they thought that AEW was somehow impervious or invulnerable to this. It happens after the first time in a market, is a big deal, especially now. Back in the old days, yes, you could build your town. When you opened up a new market for live events, that means you'd been on TV for maybe 12 weeks in that town, and then you start running your live events, and you build the crowd as more people find out about it, as more people know wrestling is back in that town, or more people know that the wrestling TV show is on the air, whatever, you build your crowd. Classic example, Lexington, Kentucky. I was there to see it. First show after 12 weeks of TV did 1,500 people. Second show dropped down to about 1,300 because it wasn't a brand new first one. But then the third one, because the word of mouth started getting around, 2,600. Then they did over 4,000 people. 6 months in, they're doing 5,000 people a show. But with AEW, all that's been reversed. Everybody, every wrestling fan knew this was going to happen. The internet and the buzz and the talk and the advanced publicity and the anticipation. Everybody knew it was going to happen. Still to this day, the first episode of AEW television was the highest rated one. Because everybody wanted to see, everybody for the purpose of this exercise, right? The everybody number is shrinking as we go year by year, but everybody wanted to see what it was going to look like. And then they did. And then the diehards that are going to accept it no matter what have stuck with it. And I believe that, honestly, is the number of people that watch the Rampage show on Friday, plus maybe a few extra ones that just might not be able to stay up that late or have shit to do on Friday nights. And the fluctuation of the difference between 750 or 800,000 and 1.2 million is the people who will tune in either because they're already there and they'll give it a chance for a little while to see what's going on, or they tuned in specifically to see how the all-out fallout was going to be handled, the media scrum, or the big hotshot mega card they've promoted, or some wink, wink, surprise or debut. That's their ceiling, 1.2. And that's their sellers, about 750, 800. And there's been no movement in that since the start. So you asked about the ticket sales. It's going to happen. It's not new anymore. It's not new that this other company besides the evil empire once run by Vince McMahon is going to run this big building in my town. They've been here 2 or 3 times now. So maybe I can start picking and choosing, because didn't we say that the first pay-per-view, All In, I said it was the world's largest, history's largest crowdfunding experiment. There were so many people mad at Vince McMahon and the WWE and that company and the way they'd treated their favorite wrestlers that they wanted to will into existence an opponent, an alternative, a competitor. And those people that were really devoted to see that were willing to put their money where their mouth was. Remember, they sold out instantly, and everybody, oh my God, this has never happened before. That's because it wasn't just the people in Chicago. It was the people from all over the country that were willing to fly there or to get on a bus or drive or take a pilgrimage, whatever. And then for the first pay-per-views, it was the same thing. It was a status symbol. Get the ticket. We'll get there no matter where we got to come from or how hard we have to try. And I said at the time, 3 years ago, I said, it's great that they have this devoted fan base that wants to spend any amount of money to get there and to support them. Even if they buy a ticket and they can't show up, they'll still do it because it was crowdfunding. It was a GoFundMe for a do-it-yourself wrestling promotion run by the boys. And then Tony Khan steps in, and one of the reasons why he made these knuckleheads EVPs is because he wanted to keep the crowdfunding aspect, that we're in this together, this is the company that's going to be nice to the wrestlers, and this is the company that's not going to fuck around your favorites. That was part of the strategy. I would say more about that, except my NDA might fucking prevent me.
Can I say something?
Sure.
The crowdfunding thing mentally ends once Tony Khan is in the picture. People understand the money that's in the picture. And, a lot of people made comments about millionaires and billionaires trying to do things before it happened. Go back and check that out. But the people were invested in Cody Rhodes. The people were invested in the Young Bucks, in Kenny Omega. I mean, those were the big guys when AEW first started. People wanted to see what Jericho was going to do. People were ready to see what Moxley was going to do. And now look at where we are. Tony Khan wasn't on that list, by the way, because people didn't know what he sounded like. People didn't know what he really looked like yet.
Right. Now the only. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, now Cody's gone, and we will never be told publicly, or at least it'll be a long time, what really went down. But there was a lot of shit that went down. The Young Bucks and Omega are currently gone. According to The Observer, they haven't even heard from anyone in AEW in weeks. We'll see what happens there if and when they come back. Jericho's still there. Moxley's still doing their thing. But now Tony's front and center. And now instead of thinking, this is my company with my wrestlers, you know whose company it is. You know whose project it is. It's all about Tony, for good and for bad. And now that people know that, they look at it differently than they did when it first started up with Omega, the Bucks, and Cody as the faces of the company.
One thing I'll disagree with you on, you said, well, the crowdfunding aspect ended when Tony got involved. No, it didn't. They still were flying to every pay-per-view and snatching up those tickets at the start, but then slowly, yes, people have started to realize, wait a minute, this fucking company, the alternative to the company funded by the billionaire that we hate, this company's funded by a billionaire, ultimately with more money than the billionaire we hated, Tony Khan's father, because Vince don't have the money Shad's got. So my statement, and we can go back and I'm sure it's on the YouTube channel, official Jim Cornette, or wherever it lives. I said, how long can this last? How much money, and for how long can the diehards get a ticket for every pay-per-view and fly to every big event and every all out and all in and this and that? That's starting to wear off because at some point with anything that is plentiful, when you first get something that you really like and there's not much of it and you've been starved for a while, and boy, here, you're going to make every effort to get that thing. But then it's plentiful and it's available and it's ongoing and you're running lower on money and you got other things going on. That's where you have to use that fan base that you start with to subsist on while you make a bigger fan base, while you expose yourself to a bigger audience, while you try to attract somebody else into the tent. And at least TV viewers, and you would think they'd be easier to get than live event ticket purchasing patrons, nobody else is walking into this tent. It's the same group. And it's about 30% of the group that the WWE has, which is about, a fifth or a sixth of the group that they used to have. So we're fighting for a smaller piece of the pie, but that's the point I'm mentioning. I asked 3 or 4 years ago, I'm saying it now, I believe we're seeing the signs. How long are these people going to be able to fund this thing just to get even with the billionaire now that the billionaire is already out of the picture and forced into retirement? And the heat's off the WWE with a lot of fans because it's a new day with a new guy in charge and somebody that gave them the style of wrestling that they wanted, NXT, for a number of years and has built up some goodwill with them. And now they're willing to give him a chance. Meanwhile, Tony Khan and those big pop eyes of his is the one, instead of being the alternative to the evil billionaire, is now the one that's running the company that, regardless, like you said, of which side of the fence you're on, they're either mad at him because he fucked CM Punk around, or they're mad at him because he fucked around Twinkle Toes and the Hardley Boys. And now, instead of the lavish praise that he gets for bringing Shangri-La to wrestling, Tony pops his head out in his buildings now and he gets booed for that very reason. So I think that's the worm that's turning that we're seeing right now. And they've had 3 years to make a broader audience, not run off their original fans, but compliment them. And because he's constantly Mark booked this thing, he can't get anybody except the really devoted marks that are not fans. They're marks, and they think like marks, and he's booking like a mark. And that's what you get. You get, anytime you let the marks have a piece of paper and a pencil and the ability to write down wrestlers' names, you get the fattest guy against the other fattest guy, or the tallest guy against the other tallest guy, or fucking 18 people against each other at the same time, and everybody has a goddamn Bowie knife and fucking spurs on, or some ridiculous bullshit that most people are going to go, what the fuck is going on here? This makes no sense. Because they're all looking at wrestling like it's not supposed to make sense. It's just supposed to be a fucking video game of a car wreck. And that's where he's lost all the other people that he's had 3 years to fucking get. But you know what that program did for me, Brian?
No.
It killed my appetite.
Oh, no.
I went to bed without my supper, thanks to that program. But fortunately, I woke up hungry the next day. Because that's a funny thing. You eat one day, you wake up the next day, you're hungry again. It just never ends. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I usually get hungry every day.
Yeah, it's like my ungrateful wife, Stacy. We've been married now.
Don't say that.
No, we've been married.
Say that
we've been married for almost 15 years. I'll have you know, our anniversary is October 31st, is Halloween. And she's so ungrateful. Ever since we've been married, I've supported her. I put food on her table. I feed her every day. And the next day she turns around and wants to eat again. Nothing about yesterday. Thank you for feeding me yesterday. It's just, what are we going to eat today? It never ends. But I'll tell you what, folks, now we can bring that to an end. You won't want to eat anymore after we tell you about this remarkable new sponsor, because you'll be fixed up for eating. No more will you have to wonder what you're going to eat, where it's going to come from. You might have to wonder how you're going to pay for it. We can't help you there. But the folks at Factor have ready-to-eat meals that are delivered to your door, whether you need a quick lunch, or a nutritious dinner, or a kick lunch, or the lunch that will kick you, or kick lunch, kick the habit, don't have lunch. Whatever you want, lunches, meals, nutritiousness, they're ready in minutes. Factor makes it easy, and it's cheaper than these food delivery programs where they charge you money to bring the food to you, and also they'll dip into your bag and take your fries and etc. We've seen this happen many times. The folks at Factor, they're fresh, never frozen meals. They're delivered ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes. And these things, they're not only never frozen, they're impossible to freeze. Put them in the freezer, they won't freeze. As a matter of fact, at wintertime, you can take these meals and pour them under the tires of your car. It provides excellent traction. in snowy weather.
That is not what you should do with these meals, and that's not anything anyone should consider. You should consider eating these delicious meals when they arrive, and they arrive fresh.
Yes, and never frozen. You can't freeze these things. They offer 30-plus meals a week and 36-plus add-on options. Smoothies, juices, and snacks and stuff like that. I'll tell you what, you're going to weigh 5,000 pounds if you eat all these meals. 30 meals a week, plus 36 add-on options. Thankfully, they are committed to ingredients with integrity, and you can feel good about what you're eating here at Factor because the nutritionists, they've come up with all this. They've got a plan. They've got offerings like Protein Plus. As a matter of fact, the Protein Plus preference that you can pick, see the alliteration there, makes it easy to power up with deliciously satisfying meals with 30 grams of proteins or more. How much is 30 grams in pounds?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know the conversion.
I think most of these dinners have like between 3 and 4 pounds of protein in each one.
No, I wouldn't say that, and I wouldn't promise that, but they certainly have a lot of protein if you choose one of the dishes with protein.
Yes, Protein Plus. They got keto options. That's what Stace is doing right now. They had chili and they had all kinds of that has protein in it. But it's keto also. See, sometimes you can cross over. You can have your keto and eat your protein too. But Protein Plus, keto meals, calorie smart meals, if you're trying to cut down on the calories. Boy, these calorie smart meals, they're practically empty. You're eating air. Plus vegan and veggie options. Or is it vegan and veggie? We didn't get that straight last week.
No, we got it straight. It's vegan and veggie.
Well, that's what you say. And not only do Factor meals save time, but they also keep you satisfied, folks. I don't know about sexually, but certainly calorically, and it'll make your tummy feel good. The chef-crafted recipes are packed with restaurant-quality flavor. But it's been booted out of the restaurant, and now it's in the dish that's delivered to your door. And more free time instead of spending precious hours hustling around the store, trying to get the ingredients, shoplifting all that stuff, trying to get it up under your petticoat or in the crotch of your jeans, and then bringing it home to make the meals in your kitchen. Well, you can eliminate all that, the meal making, the cooking, the shoplifting, everything, and the cleanup time, if some of you actually clean up after your meals. You don't have to do any of that with Factor. You just eat the thing and then throw the container away. They got everything you need. Again, right now, and you'll need a pen and paper, folks, because we're going to give you some very difficult to understand information. To figure in on Factor, to get these ready to eat meals, or you can meet the meals if you want to. You can be introduced to them anytime they come to your home. As a matter of fact, the UPS gal will probably say, "Hi, Joe, meet broccoli," things like that. You'll be introduced to them. Head right now to go.factor, FACTOR 75.com/JCE130 and use the code JCE130 to get $130 off.
Wow.
Across 6 boxes of Factor. That's the important part. You get $130 off. The other stuff, so you got to write down numerous letters and numerals. Head to go.factor75.com/JCE130. Use the code JCE130 to get $130 off across 6 boxes of Factor with all these delicious meals, no matter what style you're eating. Again, keto-friendly, calorie-smart, the vegan and the veggie, the Protein Plus.
Yes.
They've even got they've got meals if you like Dalmatian. They've got something for everybody.
No, they don't. They do have all. We're so close to the end. Everything's going well relatively, and then you pull this out. Dalmatian.
Well, I like Dalmatians. They're cute puppies, but they got something at Factor for everybody. Depends on what country you're ordering from. Sometimes the standards are a little more lax than others. But right now, folks, head to go.factor75.com/JCE130 and use the code JCE130 to get $130 off across 6 boxes of delicious Factor food. Factor it in to your daily schedule.
Don't forget, it's delicious.
It's delicious.